Okay, so I'm back. I hope that you're back. It's what is it? Monday? It's Monday, and I don't know why I'm confused. Monday, and it's the 2nd of November, and that's probably very, very significant of something. So I have, as per usual, one of my old life drawings that we're going through and modifying. And I'm just going to keep doing that for a while until A, I get them done, or B, I get bored or distracted or something else. But for the moment, this is what we're on. And, you got to do something with your time. So we're doing this. And let's see what's going on in my life. What's going on? I posted something this morning as a barbarian dude fighting a troll, and I said something about there are trolls coming out of the woodwork, which I was like, I thought maybe I shouldn't say that, because I'm just going to invite uh, you know political commentary or something which I normally would rather discourage. But I don't know. I thought I was very clever, so I thought, I'm rarely very clever, so I thought I can't throw it away. So so I made that comment, and yeah, sure enough, I've had a few not bad, but a few people going, oh, it's worse now than ever or something, and yeah, I said something like, there used to be trolls everywhere or something. Um, Evan says, wait, it's 2 p.m. in Oregon. I'm confused. Uh, but we'll give in to fate. Can't stay, have a meeting, have fun, everybody. All right, cool. Thanks, Evan. Yeah, I'm sorry about the time zone thing. You know, I just can't control very many things, and including including anything at all. Uh, so I mentioned, trolls, and people say, yeah, Gisela says, you see silly people going around changing your clocks. I mentioned trolls. And I mentioned, and I said, there used to be trolls coming out the woodwork or whatever. I was mostly being cute, talking about my drawing. And then people were like, oh, it's worse than ever. And whenever people say that, I always feel like I've got to say no, because it's kind of like, you know, it's a little bit of loyalty, I suppose, loyalty to my school, loyalty to my town, loyalty to my country, and loyalty to the century I live in. Because honestly, um, I know it's not a popular opinion, but I really do think people in general are a lot nicer to each other than they were when I was a kid. Um, when I used to see fights, I was used to be, I never started one in my life, but I used to be in many, many fights when I was a kid, and sometimes they were just crazy. It's just like, you're just walking down the sidewalk in downtown in front of all those stores and everything, and somebody just steps out of a store and says, "You goddamn kids in your blue jeans or something," and then it's just abusive, and you're like, I think this guy's gonna kill me, and it's just like, I don't know you, I've never done anything to you. It's just that shit used to happen a lot, to me and to lots of other people. And I suppose it might have been worse if I was, black or gay or I don't know. I don't know, but I certainly soaked up my share of it, more than what I thought ought to have been my share of it. And yeah, and it's just like a lot of things that you can look back on and say, well, maybe it's just because I've grown up, but I don't see that happening to kids, other kids, maybe it's because I don't live in Prescott anymore. Maybe if I lived there, I would see this kind of thing happening to kids. But generally, I think no. I think people just don't behave like that anymore. Possibly because somebody would sue you, and kind of rightly so, But anyhow, um, I think people really are more civil to each other than they used to was, and that's a good thing. She's apparently got a fur draped across this chair, this big stone chair. It better have something padding on it, because that'd be kind of brutal to sit on. I don't know what's happening here with her foot. Something, something horrible. Something horrible happened down here with her foot, and so we'll fix that. We're gonna fix it by putting shoes on it. Somebody said, "You don't like drawing toes, do you?" And I'm like, "Oh, not really." But you know, I also envision a world where it probably is healthy to wear boots. Uh, might be an ensorcelled stone. What, like heated and adjustable and all that kind of stuff. Sharon says you've got to remember this for Zoom. Oh, we're talking about the time zones. Time zone. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah, that is going to be an issue next Friday. And we can change it if other people would find a different time uh, more suitable. I don't have a particular reason for having chosen that time. I just did. I probably had a reason at the time that I first did it. I just don't remember what the reason was. I don't think there's any compelling reason to keep doing it. But yeah, when I was a kid, people were brutal to each other. They were bullies. They were just just people. Just people. Goddamn people. And I keep stopping because I'm getting my hands dirty, and I don't want my hands dirty when I pick up this thing I want to show you. So I'm going to show you a thing once I get all this smuts off of my hands here. All right, there's a comment. Uh, yeah. So the thing I've been working on, the thing that's been absorbing all my time for a while, it is taking so much time that I'm bored and want to quit and want to do something else, but I'm sticking to it and trying to finish something because you may have noticed I'm not terribly good at finishing things. Um, but I'm trying to publish a book, and it will be a book of this kind of stuff, life drawing, uh, transformed into fantasy art. Somebody says, hello, Kaylin. Thank you for coming. And so if you go to Comic Con, a lot of the guys who are selling stuff at their tables. Um, they'll be selling their what they call a sketchbook. Now, it's not a sketchbook as in a bunch of blank paper for you to sketch in. It's a book of their sketches. So this is Bernie Wrightson. It's got a handmade cover and lettering and everything. It says, "Look out, he's got an axe," and it's just a lot of a lot of sketches for a comic book that he was working on at the time. This one had a lot of zombies and werewolves and vampires. It even had the creature from the Black Lagoon in there. And so he was working up conceptual designs and doing preliminary art for a lot of things. And so he had a couple years worth of sketchbooks. This is called The Usual Suspects. I got autographs. And this one involved dinosaurs. So there's just a lot of other monsters and things with tentacles and whatnot. Very nice. Pretty much all pencil work in that. And he did that in this 8.5 by 11, folded over with a colored paper cover, but it's all just black and white. My book, depending on my budget, hi sissy, depending on my budget, depending on my time, how various things work out, it might look just like that. All right. There's other people though. Gary Gianni did his little sketchbook. He did a Conan project where he did all the illustrations. This is a really nice, for a sketchbook, weird size. So I know that was not cheap to do, but really nice print, and of course color cover with some of his art. So a lot of things that were interior illustrations in these books that he did the artwork for, and they're quite nice. And some of them are the sketches for the painting, and some of them, are the actual art that appeared in the book. Then you got Donato Giancola, who just has to one up everybody. And he did these slick, full color sketchbooks. They're just actually art of Donato books. Everybody charges for these things, but still, this is well above what everybody else is doing. And so I like picking these up when I go to Comic-Con. I've done a couple of my own. Long time ago, my online sketchbook on conceptart.org was called Gilead's Babes, and I was posting a babe a day. I know it's silly, but I made my own little sketchbook, and it's not very good, but printed it myself, folded and stapled myself. The following year, I did a better one with a colored cover inside and out, and it was just a better quality. You can tell that it's a better quality, but it was a better quality book. And I sold some of these and traded for some. Joseph Michael Linzer, who did the Cry for Dawn character comic book. Him and his wife, who looks suspiciously like this, were manning the table, and I came by and we had a really nice conversation. There were a couple of those people that you just think, gosh, I wish I lived close to you because we would be best friends. So he looked at my little book that I just showed you and thought it was super cool and was asking me how much, and I said, we'll trade, and he's like, yes, and so we traded for those little books. So these are common. This size. And Sharon says, I just noticed your old school pencil sharpener is still the best kind. I did a final walkthrough at my old house before my dad let go of it. And he was saying, is there anything here that you want? And he vetoed several things that I wanted to take, and I really wish he hadn't, because The guy just came through and got it. There was like a corner china cabinet and everything. And my dad's like, that was here when we moved in, so it's part of the house. And the guy just went through and ripped the whole, ripped the place down to the frame and threw away everything. So lots of things I wished I had, but um, that was hanging on the wall in what used to be my old bedroom. And you're just so used to seeing it that you don't focus on it. And the room's empty. There's no furniture, and that's hanging on the wall. And I just went, no, that's going with me. And so I took it down and put it on my wall. And yeah, it is absolutely the best pencil sharpener. It's about the only thing that doesn't rip my pencils to shreds and drive me crazy. Um, if my budget's really good, I'll do the Mark Schultz version. This is more like a 8.5 by 11 hardback, but Mark Schultz has been around a while. Even some color interior. It's still a sketchbook. It's all various sketches, and so it's workups for some of his comic books. Yeah, he's a hoot. He's got he did the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs comic book, which just crazy. But yeah, that was a fun series. So Mark's got a bunch of books like that out. I'm thinking something that looks and feels like my coloring books. 8.5 by 11, heavier stock cover, probably not color. Um, and I'm probably printing it myself, folding it myself, stapling myself, selling. It's going to be a real low budget thing, but we still don't quite know how things are going to go. So now that I have stopped touching things that I'm going to get annoyed if they get dirty, I'll go get my hands good and grubby. John says we have one like that, but I dropped the yellow part and broke it. Oh, that sucks. Uh, yeah, you would have to have it in the garage because it makes a mess without that. And yeah, 3-color duotone printing. Is that even a thing? Does that even matter anymore in the digital age? Is that just the difference between black and white and color? I'm not really clear on that. So this. So that's what I've been spending all my time on, and it's mostly just finding the damn things because my computer is like this big bucket where all these every photograph I've ever taken of my cat in the zoo and the sunset and a piece of art I just did and it just all dumps into a big pile, and so I've had to sort all that and then start working on stuff. So it's been a thing. It's more than it looks like it's going to be superficially, um, but hopefully I'll have books soon. Um, I'm getting tired of myself saying, I'm going to do books, something. But I have a tendency to work on a book and think, I should be drawing. I shouldn't be working on some stupid book. I should be making art, not talking about art. And then so I go and start drawing, and then I think, I've got lots of drawings. I should be painting. Painting's what really makes a difference. And then I start painting, and then I think to myself, what's the good of doing more paintings when nobody knows about you? You need to publish a damn book. So I kind of go in circles, and yeah, I get lots of things half done. Is what I do. Um, this particular girl used to have more hair, and she definitely has more body than I gave her. I don't know why I made her so damn scrawny and gave her boyish hips. Not that there's anything wrong with people with boyish hips, but she doesn't have boyish hips. She's a curvy gal, and I didn't make her that way. She had beautiful, long, lustrous hair, and then she cut it off. Made me mad. Like it's any of my damn business. She kind of looks like she's looking at something. Here, I could put something. Or somebody. I could put somebody here. Somebody could be sitting down on the ground. Or it could be a little goblin or something. It could be a big bowl of Halloween candy that she's saying, I really shouldn't eat any more of that. Because I've been doing a little of that myself. And then Sharon sent me an article about duotone. Okay, so I'll read that later. Uh, Sissy says artist trades are some of the best. I just organized one with a local painter. I love her stuff, but haven't had the cash. She wanted to hire me to take photos of her and her stuff. That's pretty cool. I might make a similar deal with you at some point in the future. Yeah, because I've got some things. A professional photographer will just do a better job of taking pictures of my art than. And Sharon says she's got boyish hips and a girlish butt. If you say so. And Sissy's defending short hair. I know, it's fine. It's fine. I just have my tastes. And now that the thing's at home, it's my picture. She's going to have whatever hair I want her to have. I guess she likes it. She hasn't changed in several years. She's probably just rebelling against me because I'm the big influence in her life, I'm sure. So just before we started, I was listening to Pandora, and the song Mr. Saxo Beat by Alexander Stan went by on my Pandora. And it reminded me of a story, which I would have forgotten about, except I started whistling the song. And so, yeah, it was just funny. One time I was driving down the street, and the radio was on, and that was on. It was when that was new, and so that was on the radio, and I had the windows down because the weather was nice, and so I'm driving, and this carload of teenagers is kind of gradually passing me, and they're all talking, and they got their music playing and everything, but there's a guy in the back seat, and he kind of sticks his head out the window, and he's looking at me, and he's looking kind of amazed, like, and and then he leans back in and he taps people on their shoulders like, hey, and then they shut their music off and they slow down and they're all looking out the window. Like, it was just astounding to see an old man listening to Alexander Stan. It's like, yeah, the radio works the same for me as it does for you guys, but it was fun. um yeah. I missed a whole bunch of stuff here. Um, yeah, short hair. Okay. Scott just walked in. Says, "What did I miss? I'm not doing it over. Sorry. Gonna have to do the replay." Uh, Say the word and I'm on it. Good. Yeah, Sissy. I may. Um, we're gonna do something. We are. If I have a painting that I can trade, if I have something you want that I can trade to you, yeah. And we're gonna stop talking about Sharon's butt. Sorry, John. See myself growing my hair again. Um, so yeah, okay. Um, so yeah, Scott, we were talking about long hair, Alexandra Stan, and Sharon's butt. That's what we were talking about. Oh, and sketchbooks. So yeah, you can catch it all on the replay. And that's good. I have a strange relationship to music. Um, we've talked about this before. But yeah, it's an old man thing. You're going to have to listen to my same stories again. But I, I'm one of those people that will just replay something in his head, just over and over. And I mean, stuff that has no bearing on my life anymore because it happened in junior high school or some damn thing, but my head will just go through it and go through it. And so, you have to do something that'll bust you out of that rut if you find yourself mentally going over something. You have to go distract yourself with something. And I find that um, music was having the most profound effect of of sending me down one of those channels. This song would come on, and I would just go, ugh, and I would just kind of like, my favorite example was um, Bruce Springsteen's "Everybody's Got a Hungry Heart." Okay, the song it opens up with, I've got a wife and kids in Baltimore, Jack. I went out for a ride and I never went back. Okay, when that song was brand new, I was dating a girl, and she listened to that line, and she turned to me and she said, "You're gonna do that to me one of these days." And I was like, we had no plans of getting married or having kids or anything, and she was already angry with me for this infidelity that she perceived happening, 15 years in the future, and we had this big fight about it. I mean, this major major blowout about it. And so every time I hear that song, I can't help it. I think about that uh, that event. And obviously, I do not miss the girl. That's not the issue here. It's just my head goes there every time I hear that song, and so um, and I don't want to go there. I don't want to spend any more time. It was a big enough chunk of my life down the drain already, having that conversation. So I don't want to go there. So these days, I tend to seek out music that I've absolutely never heard before, and um, or that has no particular associations. There's no memories attached to it. It's like when I discovered that song, I was sitting right here in this room drawing pictures. Well, that's fine. That's not going to hurt me. So and Sharon says Springsteen. Okay, if you're a fan. Did I not say Springsteen? Did I say something else? Rick Stringfield? Did I say Rick Stringfield? So yeah, I don't like uh, I don't like classic rock. I don't dislike the classic rock. Um, but if I'm going to sit and listen to music, that's not what I'm going to listen to, because I don't like where it takes my head. So, all right. She's got boots and nothing else on. I suppose sooner or later I've got to do something about that. She was kind of arched back, which pulls her chest up. And so hence the position of her boobs. However, I'm not real sure that that is registering anymore. It kind of feels to me like it doesn't show that she's arched back and her boobs are pulling up. So we're going to have a lowering the boobs operation here. It's not that painful. I've had it done myself. Sit several inches lower than they used to. And we'll lower her belly button just a tad too, just a smidge. So yeah, I've completely altered her whole physique, and I'm changing that arm. I don't like that arm up like that. In fact, in my later days of life drawing, I would just not draw it. If the model was sitting like this, I just from the get go I would ignore that arm and put it in a different position. It's like I'm not gonna like it. It's like um, if I'm gonna do anything with the picture later or not, I'm not gonna like that arm. It looks hulking and gargoyle and you know like a gorilla or something. It's not pleasant. I don't know what her arm is resting on. I didn't put any armrests on this chair, so I've got to I've got to figure that out. But her arm's down there, or I could change my mind again and have her um, holding a spear or throwing rocks or something. Um, but I don't know. So I was just somewhere. Oh yes, I was talking about life drawing and um, and changing things in life drawing class. And I remember one time um, we were drawing and the model was laying on her side. And it was a nice curvy, languid pose, which I really enjoy. And but she had her one arm was kind of behind her, and then her hand was get your hand in front of the damn camera. One hand was just kind of up like this on her mid, on her hip, not her hip, but on her side. And so from where some of us were sitting, there's this pretty girl with these nice curves and some fingers sticking out of the side of her body, and I don't know, in person it looks beautiful. If this was your girlfriend laying on the bed, hot, just great. But you draw the picture and it's like there's fingers growing out of out of her waistline, and it's disturbing and awful. And this guy walked over to me to see how I had handled that problem, and how I had handled that problem is I just didn't draw it. And so he was going to ask for advice on how to make that look right, and I just don't do it. And so that's I learned. It took me a while to not just you know rush ahead. And I don't know, maybe as a beginning, when you're learning the figure and everything, maybe you just need to go ahead and draw everything that's there. But yeah, if it doesn't serve you, it's just like it's like the short hair. I didn't like it, so it does not serve me. It's not. I don't have to be a slave to that. It's just like if the arm's in the wrong position for you, change it. Um, but you do have to recognize how much that changes other things. And that's why her arm is resting on something here. Because if I had her arm sticking down, well, then her shoulders are going to go in a different direction, which is going to change her boobs. This is going to change her neck. It's going to change her belly button. It's going to change everything. And I may as well just throw it away and draw a whole new picture at that point. So yeah. you have to account for it, but it's your picture. Do whatever you want to with it. And there's a lot of comments. There's a lot of comments. Sharon sent me a picture of a peach, which I love, but I'm not quite sure what that's in reference to. Sissy says you have a lot of drawings that I want. Okay, we'll trade. We'll do something. And yeah, yes, you do need to be friends. It's an old friend thing too. Okay. Okay, Sharon, you said run, don't walk. Okay, that's in reference to the old girlfriend. Okay, yes, I did level up by hooking up with Stellar. Yes, definitely. It bugs me to often listen to the same stuff I listened to in high school. The occasional visit is enough. Yeah, yeah. So I agree, and also the other kind of stuff that's on my Pandora that does harken to those days is disco. I have some disco on my Pandora, and a lot of people are just like, "Oh, how could you listen to disco? You know, listen to classic rock. And classic rock is the music of your childhood." Actually, disco is the music of my childhood, and so I actually quite like disco. And I don't know. I guess it was already demonized. Even way back then, so it was kind of uh, you were kind of just less likely to hear it. Uh, you were going to hear Springsteen, 20 times before you heard the Beaches for a certain period of time. And so yeah, I mean, there are less things that bother me about listening to disco. It's kind of all gone away. It's kind of all gotten forgotten, and then suddenly there's this thing called Pandora, and you can do this, and it plays you all these songs that you haven't heard in 30 years, and you go, "Oh, wow, yeah, I forgot that one entirely." So that's kind of fun, um, but I do have to put it on shuffle, so I'm not listening to the Bee Gees all day long. John says I do the hustle on an LP. Um, Um, yeah, everybody in my drawing group pretended to hate disco, and I say pretended because if I put that on, and everybody would bitch and whine, you and your disco, it sucks, and all this kind of stuff. And it was the only time everybody in the room was singing to the music was when my disco station was playing. The rest of the time, people were ignoring the music or making fun of the music or whatever. But the only time everybody was singing to the music was when we were listening to disco. So I think they're all just full of it. They act like they don't like disco, and secretly they're like John, and they have Donna Summer's LPs hidden in their closet. And that is it for me for today. Thank you all for joining me. It's been fun, and I intend to come back and perpetrate more of the same tomorrow. So I will see you then. Sharon says, I can't remember the dance to save my life, but I remember the tune. I didn't dance. It was actually forbidden by my church, so I didn't dance. And I think that's something you have to learn when you're a kid, because God, it's awful now when I try to dance. But anyway, we'll talk about that some other time. Okay. Talk to you later.